In the year 1975, a 27-year-old boy took a camera, a crew, a mechanical shark, and went off to the ocean to scare the masses. The mechanical shark malfunctioned, the boy improvised, and he ended up inventing the summer blockbuster. The boy was Steven Spielberg, and the movie Jaws, the movie that terrorized and stopped a large population from going to beach vacations. Yeah, I remember my vacations of 75 was limited to the hot sands of Arizona. You've never been to Arizona? You weren't even born in 1975. If I were, that's how it would have been. Highway. That is my intern. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, the monster of the sea that Spielberg unleashed. Well, he hid it for the most part. You see, the very first highest grossing horror summer blockbuster didn't show the creature of the horror. That's because the mechanical shark malfunctioned. The three life-size mechanical sharks, lovingly nicknamed Bruce after Spielberg's lawyer, were made and tested in California's freshwater tanks. Once they were moved to the ocean off Martha's Vineyard, the salt water proved disastrous. It caused the internal metal hardware to rust rapidly. The pneumatic hose leaked, making the sharks really unreliable to shoot as filming progressed. The animatronic shark, costing around $500,000, a massive sum for 1974, were marvels of engineering on paper, but disastrous in practice. They would crash wildly when activated, sink uncontrollably to the bottom of the ocean, or simply refuse to operate during critical scenes in the movie. The mechanical failures were so frequent that the sharks earned the production grim nickname Flaws. The relentless breakdown devastated the production. A planned 55-day shoot stretched to over 150 days, and the budget ballooned from $4 million to about $9 million, putting the film at risk. Spielberg later admitted that Universal would have never greenlit the project had they known about the true cost. But the mechanical disasters forced a creative breakthrough. With the sharks often unavailable, Spielberg shifted to suggestion rather than exhibition, using John Williams' score, POV shots, and actors' reaction to build the trend. This limitation, born out of failure, became the film's greatest strength, creating one of cinema's masterful examples of suspense. With the creature now not being much visible on camera, there was a massive gap on how to show the source of fear. The cinematography was of course one, but they needed just one more element. That's when John Williams created the two-note motif that cues in the shark. The one that goes dun dun, dun dun. Yes, the same one. The first time Spielberg heard it, he found it quite amusing and not so serious. But it became the perfect scare of anticipation without even seeing the creature of source. The theme is built around a well-known ostinato that mainly alternates between E and F. The piece strongly leans into a tonal atmosphere that's often associated with E minor or B minor, but it's dissonant. The chromatic EF pattern creates an unease rather than a clear conventional sense of key, heightening the tension and terror. And the darkness helps too. You are 2 for 2 intern. The opening scene is in near darkness and has more POV shots. The ominous rising sound adds to it, and the abrupt cut to black when the music stops leaves the fear to the imagination of the audience. Due to the shark's unreliability and unconventional appearance, Spielberg shifted to psychological dread by hiding it. Using yellow barrels, underwater POV shots, and the actor's terrified reaction, he let the audience imagination create the fear. And it worked perfectly. The 1975 audience had a screaming ride at the theaters. In fact, this movie continues to scare audience even today. It would be a nightmare for the pescatarians. Just not what you see on the screen. Jaws is philosophically about how humans confront fear, nature, and their own flaws. The shark is an emotionless force of nature. The real conflict are the humans. The mayor's greed prioritizes tourism over lives. Fear politics manipulates the public, and the illusion of control makes us believe that we can control nature with technology. The film critiques capitalism and suggests that violence becomes our default when nature disobeys. The three men on the orca embody different worldviews. Quint is raw will, a Nietzschean figure who creates values through hatred and vengeance after the USS Indianapolis trauma. His will is destructive, not life-affirming. His obsession is pure resentment, defining himself against the shark. He is Nietzsche's Ubermensch gone wrong. Hooper is detached reason, science, technology, data. He embodies the Enlightenment belief that knowledge masters nature, like Bacon's vision of humans commanding nature. But pure reason has limits. He is powerless without Brody's courage. Brody is the fanatic man who overcomes fear to fulfill civic duty. He acts from responsibility, echoing Kant's categorical imperative. Act on what you would will as universal law. He is also Aristotelian. Courage isn't absence of fear, but acting rightly despite it. Together they represent Hegel's dialectic, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Ultimately, Jaws argued that the real monster aren't the shark. They are greed, fear-mongering, and humanity's belief that we are superior to nature. So yes, Jaws is secretly a philosophical drama about three competing ways of being human, and only the one grounded in duty and courage can survive. So maybe the malfunctioning of a high-cost shark was the right thing to happen. Murphy's Law seemed to have played a major role in giving us the first summer blockbuster and a monster movie that hides the monster, yet managed to scare a theater full of audience even today. The score, editing, cinematography, and evoke not show approach created fear through anticipation, centered on John Williams' iconic two-note motive. If you have watched till here, comment #down below and also let me know your thoughts. Of course, like and share with your friends, but most importantly, subscribe, because I need to feed my intern too. Until next time, celebrate cinema.